everyone, welcome to Manchurian's Play Place. My name's Brian. So if you're new here, this is my intro video. Let me tell you a little bit about the channel. I mainly do videos about being an aquarist. I record a lot of videos of my fish, doing different things with my tanks, building things for them, changing up the scapes inside, buying new fish, etc. I put out one video a day right now, and in addition to fish, I also have any other content that interests me and that I think most people would find interesting. I live in China, so a lot of it is videos of me doing things in China that are just usually normal things that you might do yourself, but letting you see the China side of things. And any other interesting things I do or see, I might make a video of and put on the channel. Which is why I call it my play place, because it's where I come to do all the fun things that I like to do. So, in addition to being an intro video, this video is a response to the Aquarium Tuber Tag challenge. I've been called out twice now, and I've been slacking and haven't gotten around to making a video. I've been really busy. So hopefully this one comes out okay, because I finally got a minute to do it. First person to call me out was Laura, and shout out to Laura. I'll put a link to her channel below. She's awesome. And also Dwayne Kitchell called me out after Laura did. He's a new subscriber to my channel. I also just started watching him. He seems like a really cool guy, so I'll put a link to his channel as well. And yeah, it's 10 questions, so let's get started. I'm kind of doing this off the cuff. Oh, here comes the cat. He's probably going to join the video. The first one is how I got into the hobby. So I already did a whole video about that when I hit 50 subscribers, and I'll just put a card up here in the corner linking to that, so you can go watch that video if you want to hear the story of how I got into the hobby. The second question is my favorite fish. That's pretty hard for me, honestly. I've kept a lot of different stuff in like the less than a year that I've been keeping fish, but probably I guess my favorite are the discus, because they're just so beautiful. I mean, sometimes they annoy me, but lately they've been pretty chill, and I really like watching them. But I like a lot of fish. It's hard to pick a favorite, honestly. And I really like rams, I really like guppies. I like a lot of, basically, I like South American cichlids, a few Central American cichlids. The smaller ones, I haven't kept any big cichlids yet because I haven't had the space, so I don't really know whether I like them or not. But discus are the biggest cichlids I've kept so far, and other than that, I've kept some smaller South American cichlids. I also like tetras and cory cats. I don't know. Basically, all the fish you see in my tanks are the ones I like, because other stuff that I've tried I haven't liked and I've gotten rid of. The next question is a least favorite fish. Again, this for me is kind of like, I like all fish. You know, if I could only keep my least favorite fish, I would probably still keep fish, even though I don't like them as much as other fish. The two that stick out in my mind that I haven't enjoyed that much, for different reasons. The first are zebra danios, because they look dumb. I don't know. Sorry if you guys out there love zebra danios, but I got some for a while, and I also got some pink glowfish variety, and I don't know what it was. I could not get into them. The way they're constantly like moving, and they're just always like me, and their little faces. I don't know. I know I'm being a hater right now, but that's what the question is. The other fish that stood out to me that I didn't like when I first got into the hobby, as you will hear about in the other video if you go watch it, I kind of got duped by a, let's say, unscrupulous fish seller into buying way too many fish for a really small tank that she sold me, and part of those were 5 rainbow sharks, and this is a 12-gallon tank, on top of like a bunch of other fish. So I had 5 rainbow sharks in this tank, and if anyone has kept them, you know that they can be super aggressive towards each other and other fish, especially when they get big. So these things started getting bigger and bigger, and I started having more and more problems with them. And one of them, I named her Bertha because she was just huge. She was like bigger than all the other fish I had. And eventually I ended up getting rid of all of them because they were just so aggressive and constantly fighting and like freaking out all the other fish and whatever. Even after getting more tanks to make room for all these fish that I had to get rid of all of them except for Bertha. I kept her because she was the biggest one. And then finally I got this tank. Actually, the reason I got this was for her, because I couldn't, even in the 45 whatever, she was just so aggressive. She was attacking everyone all the time and nobody could relax. So I put her in here by herself and she chilled out, and then I was like, I'm not going to keep this giant tank for one rainbow shark. That's super boring. And that's when I got Discus, and she would just go after them all the time, like, even though they were way bigger than her. I mean, she was big. She got like 6 inches at the end there. 6 inches, whatever. She was really big. She's the biggest rainbow shark I've seen. And she would just attack my angelfish. Back when I had angelfish, she would attack my Discus, everything. So finally I had to get rid of her too. So I haven't kept any kind of like rainbow shark, bala shark, red-tailed shark, any of the cyprinids except for Siamese algae eaters since I had that shark, just because of the aggression issues and like how fast they would swim around the tank, and just anyone who came near the bottom, she would just like try to kill them. She just had to dominate the entire bottom of the tank, no matter how big the tank was. So that was not my favorite. I don't like aggressive fish like that. Alright, number 4. What kind of filters do I use? I use sponge filters. I don't know if you can actually see this tank very well behind my shoulders, but let's see, 2 of my tanks came with I guess you would call box filters. I don't really see people in the US using these kind of filters. They're probably like old school or something. It's basically just a power head where it sucks water up, dumps it into the box, and then it pours back into the tank. So it's kind of like a hang-on back, but it's like above the tank instead of hanging on the back. So I have 2 of those. Those are fine. I mean, you can stuff them full of all kinds of stuff. They work well. I haven't had any issues with them. So in those tanks I don't have sponge filters, but in all my other tanks I have sponge filters, and I'm really happy with sponge filters. They're cheap. Like these ones I got for 25 kwai a piece, which I don't know what 25 divided by 6.5 is off the top of my head, but it's like $4 or something. So that's cheap. And this tank, as you can see, is completely full of fish. I think there's over 70 fish in here right now, and this is like a 66 gallon or something. It's 246 liters, and all I have running at the moment are 2 sponge filters. And aside from 1 random fish that died, I haven't had any issues. I mean, a lot of that is because of the pothos. The pothos is like superpower nitrate removal, and it drinks a bunch of water, so I just top it off, and it's kind of almost like an auto water change. And it also provides a bunch of surface area in the roots in the back for beneficial bacteria, and also on this wood. So essentially I just use very minimal filtration, minimal water changes. Just keep an eye on my parameters, and as long as they're in line, that's it. So I don't know. I don't have any canister filters. I don't have anything fancy. I don't even have any hang-on backs, just sponge filters. And the 2 box filters that came with those tanks. Number 5. What kind of lights do I use? So all of my tanks, except 1, are custom LEDs that I've made, or DIY LEDs, whatever you want to call it. I have videos on all of them, I think. The 2 tanks that have the box filters in them also came with lighting installed in the lids. The smallest one is adequate, so I just have left that as is. But the 45 gallon I didn't find adequate, so I installed two bars of LEDs to supplement it. I've got a video about that. Put a link to it in the description below, or maybe up here as a card. I don't know, we'll see. And yeah, so I prefer to make my own lights using LEDs, so I can kind of tweak the colors, and where I live they're really cheap, so it's not a big deal. I like building stuff and can do different configurations to get it looking good. Number 6, my favorite tank setup. Well, I've only had 5 tanks so far. I've only been in the hobby for a year. I don't know if I really have a favorite. My first tank is just, you know, gravel bottom, whatever, pebbles. It's not sand, but it's also not pebbles. It's like these little round things that are bigger than sand. And that now has plants in it, Anubias. I like Anubias a lot. I think from now on, every single tank I have is going to have some kind of Anubias at least. As long as it's a plant-safe tank or whatever. Some tanks have snails that eat plants, or that like flag cichlid tears up plants, or with these discus, their natural environment wouldn't have submerged plants, so I don't have any in here. But otherwise, I like to usually have plants. My guppy tanks also don't have plants because it's just easier for me to keep them plantless. My guppies don't eat the babies, it seems, or at least they eat very few of the babies, even when there's not really any cover in the tank. And yeah, so I just let them kind of do their own thing. I'm getting way off track here. Favorite tank setup is, I don't have one, but I do like dirted tanks. I definitely like freshwater plants if possible. Alright, number 7, my dream tank. Alright, this I can do. So imagine, here's ground level, above ground level, a geodesic dome greenhouse that's larger in diameter than the tank, maybe like 30 feet. And then inside the center of the dome, a like donut shaped tank below ground level, maybe like 8 feet deep, and with the little hole in the center of the donut just being wide enough for me to get my body in, so that would be like a little ladder going down into the tank. And then there'd be a little platform on ground level, so I could walk into the center of the tank, go down a ladder, and then the whole tank would be underground. If possible, it would be like a stream diverted in it, so there's constantly water flowing in and out and then back to the stream. But I would heat it on the way and filter it for debris and stuff. I don't know, that seems a little over the top. It wouldn't necessarily have to have a stream going through it, but either way it would be circulating water through. I don't know how many gallons that is, but it's a lot, obviously. And the goal would be that I can get in there and like walk around and swim around and stuff. And hopefully with the thermal mass of the earth being the tank, you know, because it would be poured cement, and then the center ring of the donut would be acrylic, and the outside would have acrylic too. Well, you wouldn't need the acrylic on the outside, it could just be cement. So it would just basically be like an acrylic cylinder in the center, and the rest would be poured cement. And then there'd have to be like some door or something so I could get in. I don't know. I have to figure that part out. But basically, yeah, just a big round pool with a column in the center. And hopefully the heat would come from the sun through the greenhouse roof, and I could grow plants in around the top of the pool, like tropical plants, and then in the actual pool itself just have like wood and maybe some like immersed roots and stuff. And I would just make it like an Amazon biotope and just fill it with like 5 bajillion cardinal tetras and all the tetras, and discus and angelfish and stuff like that. Nothing too big or crazy, like, or super aggressive. Just maybe some catfish of some kind, and then like tetras and some medium South American cichlids that come from the Amazon. And that would be awesome. And I would just go in there with a snorkel and like swim around. Anyway. Number 8, food. What do I feed? I feed mostly frozen food. Pretty much all frozen food, frozen brine shrimp, frozen bloodworms. I alternate those two. I do have some pellets that I got for free with other purchases that I throw in occasionally. I mainly use small pellets for my smallest fish, like the smallest cardinal tetras, some of these tiny rasboras in here, like the baby guppies downstairs, and the killifish, and the blue-eye rainbow fish. They're all really tiny, so I have this really tiny pellet that I just grind up in my fingers into like a very fine powder for them. That's actually not very good food, so I don't want to recommend it. I just bought it when I first got into the hobby, not knowing any better, and I haven't used it up yet. It's like mostly meal mash, and there's a little bit of shrimp and like algae powder or something, so it's not the greatest, but like I said, I mainly feed brine shrimp and then secondarily bloodworm, both frozen. And then also I forgot for like for my plecos in here and the snails downstairs, I usually throw some vegetables in there. Like you can see up here, there's like some not melon, what do you call those? Gourd. It's some kind of weird Chinese gourd that I chopped up. That's like floating around in there. That's been in there for a few days. As it sinks down to the bottom, it gets eaten by the plecos overnight, and then they leave all this poop for me to clean up, which I haven't done yet. But yeah, I feed vegetables, green beans, whatever, to the snail, the golden yellow snail downstairs, and to this tank as well. Number 9, my dream fish. I don't really know, honestly. I think I've kind of kept like most of the fish that I really want to keep. I would like trying to keep some larger cichlids, but I don't know if I'm ever actually going to do that, because I would have to dedicate to do it correctly, in my opinion, you need to dedicate like a big tank to them, and I don't know that I'm ever going to have the space for that. But I guess my ultimate dream would be like have a whole fish house or whatever, like everyone wants, of course, so I could keep every kind of fish. But I don't know. I like I saw on Deb Tim Canadian Girl's channel her rope fish. I think that thing looks really cool. I would like to keep something like that. I also think Bichir, I think they're called, B-I-C-H-I-R, or Bichir or whatever. I don't know how to pronounce it. I think they look pretty cool, like the alligator looking ones. That might be cool to keep someday. I do like arowanas as well. I wouldn't mind having an arowana, but I would want a big tank for it and everything. And yeah, I don't know. Also, vampire tetras are super cool, but I wouldn't keep them unless I had a humongous tank and like big enough for a school of them. So that's never going to happen. So I don't know. I guess those are dream fish. And yeah, the last thing I wanted to say is lately I went from like 60 some subscribers to like, I don't know, last time I looked this morning it was like 130, I think. And that's all thanks to Kyle's Wild World. Big shout out to Kyle. Thank you, dude. The video you made about my channel was like really cool, really nice. I appreciate that a lot. So obviously I think everybody who came over here already knows about you, but just in case, I'm going to put a link to his channel down below. And thanks a lot, Kyle. So that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm not going to call anyone out on the Tuber Tag challenge. I know that's probably lame, but I feel like everybody I watch has already done it, and I'm like the last one. So if you haven't done it and you feel left out or something, I guess you can comment below and I'll call you out in the comments. But I feel like pretty much everybody I watch has already done the Tuber Tag challenge, so I'm not going to bother calling anyone out. Sorry. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and have a good one. I'll see you next time.